Hello, everybody. And Rainer and myself are here, and we are here to get back at the beautiful subjects that we desire to speak about. I'm Helene Gross, and Rainer will present himself.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our show. Thank you for having me again, Helena.
Thank you.
So let's actually just take off. What are we actually going to talk about in this video? We'll take it as it comes, I guess.
Like we always do.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go in a little bit to touch the spirituality of why we are on this planet. Why did we incarnate here?
Yes. I think we mentioned it just about last time that, you know, the history we were living in, that it repeated itself all the time. And all the time the negatives won. They took over a new system again, and we were slaves again. We never got out of it. And people still think this time it's going to be the same. But they forget one thing. It's the spiritual aspect of it.
Yes.
It will not be repeated. We will not make the same mistake because we get help.
Yes, we are very, very helped right now. And many of us, and I say us because I want you to know that we are waking up in different ways. Some people wake up very fast. Some people have a little difficulties in waking up. And when I say waking up is that you are jumping from the third dimension to the fifth. And you're like, many of you might say, what does that mean? Well, it means you're raising your frequency. When you raise your frequency, you're actually bringing up a new way of seeing things. And what Rainer, I believe what you're going towards is the fact that we are going to be opening up our eyes to a new world. And one of the reasons why we are in this so-called lockdown is like we're in sleeping right now. We're going to be waking up to something completely new. And I'm very excited about it. And there's a little bit of fear mongering, but that's to keep our energies low. That is to keep us closed down.
Yeah.
Some people do not wish our best, but we are winning. So the light is winning. So just know that our future looks really, really bright. We just have to hang in there a little bit longer.
Exactly. And when you talk about frequency, maybe a lot of people are not aware or don't know what frequency actually is. Could you explain this a little bit?
Okay, so it is, well, let's just look at it on an electrical terminology. I'm not an electrician, but you know that if you would put a plug into your electrical system and it wasn't the same frequency as that, you might burn out let's say a curling iron or something like that. You might burn it out, right? That's because the frequency that is coming from the contact is not matching the frequency that you're bringing in, or the ability to hold on to it. So frequency is, maybe you can explain, because I'm not technical. That's the thing, you know?
No, not me either, but I got a picture in my head while you were talking, and maybe I could make it visual for people. If you take water, for instance, water is now known to have memory.
Yes.
And there are scientists in Austria. There was one in Japan, Emoto, or whatever his name was, Emoto, yeah. And there is another one in Germany who, his name is Lauterwasser. That means actually geläutert Wasser. That means clean water, his name in a way. And he made tests. He took water in 2 bowls and placed them in front of loudspeakers. And then he played rock music, heavy metal or something like this.
Yeah.
And the water started to bubble and making forms. And the forms with heavy metal, it looked terribly. It looked like sewage. And then he changed to Bach music, classical Bach music. Yeah. And the water formed in beautiful crystals, in beautiful shapes. This is the change what frequency can do. And since our body is over 75% of water, there is memory in the water we drink. And this is why we actually drink all the time only dead water. What comes out of your spring at home is actually dead water.
Yeah, that is
because
true.
it has no memory anymore. So you have to revitalize your water to get the right memory into your body. And were made tests as well in the States somewhere, where they went into a park, a national park, and took water from a lake and made this frequency out of the water. It was absolutely beautiful when they froze the water and made pictures of it. Beautiful crystals. And then they went into the Bronx and took water out there in a heavy criminalized area. It looked like sewage. The same result of a test. Incredible.
Mm. And it's interesting that you say that Dr. Emoto did the same thing with love frequency.
Yes.
He had a glass of water and he kept sending love to it, sending that high frequency, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then he had another glass of water and he sent hate to it. I hate you. And then he put these two crystals underneath the microscope, and the love frequency water had this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful crystals. And the other one was just very, very, very bad. And that's really what we're doing with ourselves when we tell ourselves, if we tell ourselves that we are lovely and we are loving and everything, we are programming all of ourselves and our body for a higher frequency, right? If we're in fear or in denial, or we hate ourselves, that is what we're programming our bodies to be as well. So that is where sicknesses come in. When we are in the lower frequencies of hate and despise and disgust about ourselves, we get sick. You know, and this is very important to understand, because when people say to me, Helene, you're almost 60, you look amazing. And I'm thinking, yes, but what are you doing? You know, and here in the US, oh, you're getting the Botox. Well, I don't do that. But no, it's because of the love for me. I really, I wasn't able to get it from the outside. Actually, that has been one of my biggest lessons here. Or one of the biggest things I have to remember is how to love myself, because I wasn't getting it on many levels. Maybe the first 5 years of my life. The rest of the time I had to figure out how to do that. So I sent it out to a lot of people and to a couple of husbands and they just took it and whatever they did with it. Now I finally figured it out. I mean, I have always loved myself, but there were certain times in my life I didn't. And those times were pretty dark. And I'm sure that many of you might resonate with the fact that when we're not loving ourselves, it's difficult to love somebody else. We spew out that negativity that we have within us, but that is also something that can make us sick.
Yeah. And what you said last time, that the heart radiates out to about, what did you say, 800,000 people?
Yes, one open heart, completely open, radiating. 800,000 people you are affecting. Can you imagine? Yeah. We don't need that many people that have completely open hearts. And then it just...
You can say, the question is then, what are we radiating out? Negativity or positivity?
Positivity.
Because this is what the dark side wants, to lower our frequency. It is an energy, and this energy has a knowledge in it, has the wisdom, has all the information, and we radiate it out and lift everybody's frequency and energy level up. This is the meaning. So if you have lots of fear mongering going on, it lowers your energy and you radiate this out again. And this is what these negative elites want to fill the morphogenetic field with negativity. But it's not possible anymore, because this high frequency energy which is coming in is suppressing the negative.
Yes.
And the people which are not awake and don't want to wake up, they are getting real problems.
Yes.
Mentally and physically.
Yes, really, and that is true. And I want to tell you also that if you are feeling that you're being pulled down, it's not just you many times, it's many times what is happening around as well. But it is connecting with your feelings of not being that great. And I can attest to the fact that I have days, and I've had days here that I've had to get off of Facebook, or I've had to get off of some of these sites because, you know, I'm very I want to know everything. I want to know what's going on here. And I'm not meaning the mainstream media or lamestream. I'm meaning, I really want to know what's going on, because I want to make sure that my family and all my loved ones and as many people as possible that I know are going to be okay, right? In all this. So there has been I've had to do a lot of digging. But some days I had to just like, okay, I have to cut that whole, because the energy was drawing me down. It wasn't making me happy, because you know, what I was picking up.
Yeah.
And I say that when we are love or below, when we're not in the frequency of love or above, what really happens to us is that we are attracting that negativity, and it doubles. And that can really pull us really far down. And that's why many people are calling me right now, because they're like, Helene, what is happening? You know, I don't feel good. I don't feel, you know, I can't keep my focus on the good stuff. I'm really feeling that I'm being poured down or torn down. And I tell people, okay, I will send you a meditation, or I will help you, or listen to frequency music that keeps your frequency high. Again, we're going back to frequency, right? Listen to that music that'll keep you up, or that'll take away all the negativity. And there are real frequencies. Okay, as a video producer in the 80s and the 90s, we had, in the beginning of the 80s and the 90s, we were able to bring in sound of 432 hertz. When I more or less left the field of editing video, you only had the frequency of 440.
Yeah.
And 440, 440 hertz, is what much of the new music is produced through, that kind of frequency, and I cannot listen to it. It takes me out of alignment. It's
meant to do it.
Yes, and it was something that happened during it was something that came in to I think it's from can it be from the Nazis? I'm not really sure when this came.
I don't know, but it's used in psychological warfare, where they use these loudspeakers with the 440 frequency music.
Yeah, and I can't listen to it. I listen to it a little bit and I have to turn it off. I'm like, it just gets me out of my alignment. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so many ways that we have been programmed: TV, music, food, you name it.
I tell young people when they love rock music, hard rock music, because some of the hard rock I like myself, but it's a melody in it, the old ones, but the new ones has no melody. It's only hard. And they said, I get so fired up. And when I hear it, I said, yeah, and what does it do with you? How fired up are you? What kind? Describe it.
Yes.
It's not positive at all.
No.
It's not positive at all, because it brings you down. After that, you fall into a big black hole. So we should be aware, and especially in the music business, it is totally satanic.
Oh my goodness.
Most of it, totally satanic.
I don't know if you saw in Norway, if you saw the halftime show, this with Jennifer Lopez, and oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that was satanic. And they're like, oh, women empowerment. I'm like, no. Look at these young girls looking at this. What is this? What is this? It really was bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch it. I mean, yeah.
I mean, when you were talking before about people coming to you, because they need help to raise, and you help them to keep their frequency up in a way.
Yes.
I got a picture up. I would ask these people as well, why are you down? Why is your frequency so low? Describe it. What is the reason for it?
Yeah.
What thoughts do you have in your mind? Where do they come from?
Yes.
What is the reason for that? Because if you only need help from others to raise your frequency, which you actually could do yourself,
yes,
you need to know about your own thoughts in your head, where they come from and what they do with you. In other words, you need knowledge. We need knowledge. I said it last time as well. The most important thing is knowledge towards spirituality. and then you keep it at that higher level in addition with eventual meditation and other practices and rituals and so on.
Some people like to dance. Some people like to listen to music, and we're talking about music that lifts you up. Some people like to sing. Some people like to read. Some people like to just do some TLC, tender loving care for ourselves. But yes, that is true. My job would be finished, and I actually thought, and I think in the future it will be, what I do in the future when we have all come over to more love than fear, more enlightened. So lighten is really about having more light within our bodies than dark. Then we are enlightened, because then we can actually see. Yeah. But I said that to a friend of mine. Oh my gosh, if everybody becomes awake, then where's the job for me? Well, then I have something else to do. But I was literally thinking that. I was thinking, wow, I love doing what I do, but I see more and more young people coming in and working with me as they use me as a mentor, right? But the interesting part is they are so awake. I'm so happy. They come down with so much amazing insight. They're like, their dimensions, the 12 dimensions are completely open. They are really awake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing when you have a job and you want to make money on your job, which we are supposed to, of course, we need that, to survive. And then you have to say, to be really successful is, my goal is that I'm as soon as possible not needed anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Because when you make a real good job, and you let go of the fear that you don't have a job anymore. But suddenly when you reach that goal, something new will come along.
Oh gosh, yes. I have a friend of mine was saying, well, what are you going to do if you didn't do this? I said, well, I have a whole bunch of books that I have already recorded. I now need to actually write them and put them in book form, right? And they're like, well, I said, yes, because I really love doing what I do. But yeah, that is the most important thing. When people come to me, I always tell them, please, I don't want you to be a full-time client of mine. 1-2 sessions and you're done. And if you want to come back, it's okay. But I'm empowering you. I don't want, because that's the only way. I don't want to be like sorry, counselors, I love you guys.
Or a guru.
Yes, that either. No, but I'm just saying, well, I mean, my mentor that I've had worked with for over 15 years, she empowered us to go out and shine our light. She did not want us to stay with her.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. This is what a real guru is doing.
Yes.
He's creating gurus instead of making a sect out of it,
Yes, exactly. So guru is just, what is the meaning of guru is that you are able to see, right? Isn't that, as far as I know, that is the meaning of guru, right?
Yeah,
so that when they pass that information on to you, one of the reasons why we have a guru or a mentor many times is because we want to go a little bit on the fast track. And get that information. Sometimes it is such an abrupt awakening. For me, it wasn't, because I've been working on this for a long time, but she came in right when I was starting to doubt myself a lot. It was 2007 she came in, 2005, yeah. So.
We had the same experience, I guess. It's an interesting world. What I want people to know is they are their own boss to create their own happiness.
Yes.
And happiness based on truth. And this is another thing. How willing are you to let the truth sink into you? Because there's a famous saying which says, the truth shall set you free.
Yes.
And in the movie, I think it was the Jag movie with Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise, where Tom Cruise wanted to have the truth and Jack Nicholson said, you can't handle the truth.
Ooh, yes.
This is a profound message. Can we handle the truth, which will be revealed to us very soon?
Yes.
And it's going to be so amazing, and people should prepare themselves, and they will look you up much more than before, because You are needed in their process. You will give them what they need right there and then. You will open their hearts so that and strengthen them at the same time so they are ready for the truth. And to get prepared to the truth, you will tell them eventually what you read from them, what kind of book should you read,
Yes.
or magazines or whatever, to get this truth, to get the puzzle going in your body.
Yes. If you and I would look through what was the book for you that in the beginning that when you started waking up, what was the book that was interesting? What helped you on your journey?
And I still love this book.
Okay.
It is Louise L. Hay, You Can Heal Your Life.
Oh,
It was incredible.
yes.
It is an incredible book. And at the end of the book, she has all sicknesses which are known to mankind, and what started, what is the reason for these. And this is amazing, absolutely amazing.
That was amazing. Yeah, every single organ has a reason, has an emotion tied to it. Yes. And
exactly.
And it's funny that is one of the books that I read too. I was still slumbering, I mean, partially sleeping when I was reading it the first time, but it totally woke me up. But I would say I jumped a little bit to the Vedas. Those were not the first ones I started with. My mother kept wanting to give me a Bible, an old Bible that we had with leather bound and whatever. And I always looked at it and I just put it on the table, and I always looked at it and put it on the table. So instead of that, I read the autobiography of a yogi.
Okay.
And it freaked me out first because I was like, okay, this cannot be complete. This is not, but that was my first book, but it was so heavy that I almost think that after that, I took books like the Celestine Prophecy. You remember?
Oh yeah, James Redfield.
Yes, that was something that I could more understand because I had already gone through much of that.
I liked the first book, The 9 Insights,
Yes.
which was perfect. I didn't like the second, the 10th insight. That was money making.
Yes.
Because James Redfield was heavily involved in the New Age Society as well.
Yes.
But even the first book was very good. Absolutely.
Yes.
It was profound.
Yes.
And there are so many more. I read Neil Donald Walsh's books as well.
Yes. And he inspired me with the conversations with God. He inspired me a lot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And the 4 Agreements was another one.
By whom?
By Don Luis Ruiz.
Oh, I heard of him. Yeah, I didn't read any books of him.
No, and he was very. I would give to all, because for many years I've been working with people, so I would have these books. I would buy a whole bunch of them and I would give it away to people. I gave one to my mother and I hoped that she would actually read it, but I don't think so. And I love my mother. Okay, so we're just putting that out there. Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, our families, how is your family taking that you have this kind of information? And
Well, both my parents died.
I'm sorry.
My older brother is in a nursing home. He can't speak anymore.
Oh.
He got a stroke, but he's fine in the brain. He gets everything what you say. I haven't seen him for over 10 years, and I don't have any connections. Since my brother can't speak anymore, I don't have connections to my other 2 sisters because they are in their own world. Okay. They don't understand what I'm talking about. No. They listened once to a podcast of mine and they said, you have a very good voice, but about the things you're talking about, we need to talk about that. I said, I don't need to talk to you about that. This is my thing.
I love that because we are so awake and they think we are so crazy or way out there,
Oh yeah. But by the way out there, this is something to recognize for the people out there.
Yes.
You need to be out there. You need to open up to things you never heard before, because this is the basic of what we are in today. This is the facts which make you see the whole picture. Otherwise, you wouldn't get it.
Exactly. And that is something that is so important I always say to people when they think that I'm way out there, I say, you have no idea how far out I am. Because I have discernment. I listen to what people say and I see it as an illusion. But through that illusion, I build a picture of how I see it very much. And people say, oh, that's very, it's not very scientific. I said, well, I've gone to school. I have books. I can go wherever I need to go. But if it feels right to me, that's the thing. If the information feels right, I would question all my teachers and I would always be sent to the principal's office and I got to know all my principals and all my schools and all over the world.
I get always these pictures in my head when you talk.
Good.
I got a business idea.
Okay.
The conspiracy theorists, they get labeled as wearing tinfoil hats.
Yes, we should have that.
Why don't we make a fashion shop of tinfoil hats? Even the people which don't believe in anything what we say, but it's going to be, they make fun of the tinfoil hats, and we put a nice positive energy in it. It'll open them up after a while, and everybody is running around with a tinfoil hat.
I love it. I love this. Hey, let's do it. I mean, I have the foil. You have the hat. I mean, we can have it in different. We can have the round ones. We can have the ones that are pointy. We can have ones with a beacon, whatever.
Yeah, people can make pictures of me because I have the real stupid look as well, if I need it.
Yes, me too. I'll be on it. Why not? I'll even have an antenna.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God! I mean, the people will be shocked what is really going on. They need to get to the history about almost 500,000 years back.
Yes.
And they have to work their ways through Lemuria, Oceanic, Atlantis, and to Mesopotamia, Babylon. And then we get where we started, where we really got corrupted. And nobody checks it. In the Bible, it said that the gods were talking and talking to themselves and saying, let us make men in our image. It even stands like this in the Bible. It's plural. Let us make men in our image.
Yes.
That alone tells you that can't be the God.
No. Go to India. Yeah. You know how many thousands of gods they have?
Yeah.
I mean, they have the god of prosperity. They have the Shiva. They have they have everything. So it's like it's.
And they worship every one of them because they think they are needed. Like Shiva is the one who breaks down everything to create something new. I don't think they are completely right in everything, because if they worship everybody, they worship Satanism as well. This is the kind of dualism what they are trapped in, what I would think.
Yeah.
Because in the plural world, we have positive and negative. We can learn from that.
Yes. Yeah.
In dualism, there are both sides negative, whereas one side is being told to us as the positive side. So we are brainwashed. And the cross is very interesting. When you have the cross, where Jesus was crucified on. Yeah. On top of the cross, you have God, the godly consciousness, the cosmic consciousness. Yeah. On the bottom of the cross, there is the man, the person, the human being.
Yeah.
And then you have the crossbar. And the crossbar is Lucifer, which is actually a neutral energy. Lucifer is dividing matter from antimatter.
Interesting, yes.
And this is why the Freemasons worship Lucifer as well, which is actually not so wrong, because Lucifer is actually neutral. But his son is Satan. Now we have this crossbar, and what we are supposed to do is going up to the middle of the crossbar, because if we go too far out on one side, we are in Satanism. The crossbar goes down. We are out of balance.
Yeah.
And we have been living in Satanism. And what could happen still, and I think it will even happen, we go over to the other side, which is Lucifer's bright light, but it is not God's light. This is why you have to close your eyes. You can't tackle the light, It's blinding you. And with this blinding, you are dependent on gurus. it's going to be a kind of a spiritual world, but
Yes.
you are trapped in a collectivism as well.
Yes.
This is what people are talking about, the 1,000 years of a golden age, because I think it was made a deal behind the scenes from with the positive and the negative sides, where the positive sides got the negative sides to agree. You let the people free for 1,000 years. You can rule in the light of Lucifer and give the people 1,000 years to learn, because we need several generations to really get there where we were once before. We were already in the fifth dimension, but we are the fallen angels. We fell. So now we go into this spiritual world of lots of gurus and typical kind of a new age and so on, but it gives us more freedom. We have a better time, yes. And this is why I said we can't have any democracy. We need leaders who are wise, who know where we have to go.
Yeah.
And give us real values back, you know. And this has to be for the next 1,000 of years, until we are so prepared and so wise and heighten our frequency so much that we are really well balanced in the fifth dimension. Then we don't need any leader anymore.
No, and that is one thing that I also wrote about in my book in 2012, and that was when I reached a certain frequency and I was able to sit and converse with all the masters, all the ascended masters, all the Jesus and Buddha and those that we know, but all the others that we didn't know. And I had a lot of masters I had some the ancients. The natives, the native chiefs, and all these people sat around me. And I know people think, really? But I was in that dimension, so I was able to connect with them.
Yeah.
I had one that came forward and said, "You do not need us."
Exactly.
And I was like, wait a minute, what are you saying? You don't need us. We are not needed. Once you see everything for what it is, we are energy. We help you raise your frequency. But once you are here, you can go beyond.
Exactly.
And for a while, that took a little while for me to understand, because I had to am I coming in being the big God, or what am I doing? I was playing with this because I was like, wait a minute, I don't need you. Okay, what about all these pictures and people putting this energy? They said, as long as people believe in us, we are here. But we are not needed.
Yeah.
It is you. You need to find your light, and you need to go through with your light, because we are God beings.
It says it even in the Bible. When Jesus told to his people, he said, what I do, you can do as well.
Yes.
And even much, much more.
Yes.
And what we are told to go into the church, and we worship Jesus instead of becoming him.
Yes.
It's completely wrong.
Yeah, and the churches keep the power. And that's one of the reasons why the fourth dimension that we are jumping over is where the churches have been.
Yes.
And with due respect to all people that do worship and go, and that is their path, I just hope that now, when we're all of us that choose to jump into the fifth, we are opening up to the fact that there are other possibilities. You do not have to go to church. You have it within. I know that here in the US, it is very, very controversial to say things like this. But I am open to discussion, and I'm open to allowing you your opinion and the way that you feel you need to find your light, find your peace, find your serenity. I'm not saying there's only one way, because there's so many ways to do it. And that's why even in my book, I remember saying, we don't need the churches. Well, the churches in 2020 are going to go down. I wrote that 2012.
Yeah.
The churches, the institutions that are not heart-driven, the money systems and everything. I had no idea that what is going on right now. I had already written in 2012. A friend of mine said, Helene, page 107 in your book, would you please read it again? And I'm like, okay. And I read, I'm like, oh my gosh, I said everything then.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's
Many years ago, I told one person who was a little bit down because of a divorce, and this person was very religious as well. And I wrote on her birthday letter, it came to me. I didn't know then what it meant. I wrote down, the Lord's ways can't be followed in blindness. They have to be understood.
oh, beautiful.
Now I know what it means. I didn't know then. That was over 20 years ago.
No, and when I wrote my book 2012, I looked at it and I'm reading it now and I'm thinking I need to read my book again because I'm getting all this wisdom that I just downloaded into it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I had to actually, a friend of mine said, look it up. You have already written it. And I was like, oh, I knew I wrote something about it, but I was not sure that I wrote all of these things that are happening right now already then.
Yeah.
So we have a wisdom if we tap in. Okay, let's look at it this way. If we tap into our cosmic net, not internet, but cosmic net. In other words, we tap into the universal consciousness, just like Einstein did. Okay, he brought that information in, and he was one of the first people that talked about E equals mc squared. Now, 3 or 4 other scientists were on that they had tapped into that same information, but he was the first one that more or less brought it out there. And so that's why we put that behind him. He's the one with this beautiful information, right? But he just tapped into the internet, the cosmic net, you know.
He got compromised, Einstein.
Yeah, I know.
Because his theory is now disproven, more or less, by many scientists. And he was the first one to support the atomic bomb because he hated the Germans. And we have so many other geniuses like Heisenberg or whatever you never hear about, but Einstein got lifted up because he was doing what they wanted him to do.
Yeah.
So that's actually a pity. Of course, he was a smart man, brilliant man, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But he was compromised. So it is so with so many things, you know. People are getting compromised as soon as they get richness or fame or whatever. They comply.
Yes.
And this is really a pity.
They want more of it instead of keeping your integrity.
Sometimes it's very hard for a person if you have a family and children.
Yes.
That's a real dilemma, you know. I mean, would you sacrifice your own children if you stay true to your heart and to God? Then you have to have a real wise family to understand you, to go along with you and risk their own death for the truth.
I know.
And so it is with a lot of politicians, you know, got compromised.
Yes, and I see that often. I lived in Washington, D.C. for a while, and I saw the politicians coming in, having all these ideas, coming into Washington, in a matter of a very, very short period of time, you just saw the darkness over them, like a walk-in had gone in, you know, and over, done. I mean,
there are many idealists in politics. When they're young, they're getting in, and as soon as they're getting in and get a place in the House or in the Senate or whatever, they will taken into the back room and told how the game is played.
Yes, and the presidents too.
Yeah, of course.
They're shown the video of Kennedy's murder.
Yeah.
Well, now Trump has brought it out, so now we, you know.
You know, Trump has a very powerful fraction of this elite. They worked together before, you know. And Trump never was directly involved in this elite, but a lot of people say, well, he went bankrupt, you know, and Rothschild bailed him out and he got the money from him and so on. People shouldn't forget how many people are getting bankrupt on purpose to get rid of loads of debt just to start all over again.
Yeah.
It is done all the time. And besides, you need to play the game with these kind of elites to get somewhere at all and to keep your wealth and your money. But then he got the military behind him. And that's a very powerful fraction.
I believe
now we're into politics again.
Yeah, I know. But I believe he has more. Well, it's okay. I think this is important.
Yeah.
I believe that he has more than just the military with him.
Oh, yes, he has more.
He has the powers from above as well.
Yeah. and I could see that very clearly. I'm just wondering, what I'm waiting for is, what is it with this business that his daughter-in-law became a Jew. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is a Jew, and outside defending this kind of Noahide laws, which are Kabbalistic, satanic, more or less.
Oh,
I'm wondering how this is going to play out.
that'll be
But I have no doubts at all. As I was in last time, and I told you that Netanyahu went to visit him, and they were in the Rose Garden, and he looked like a frightened little boy.
yeah.
That showed you Trump had complete power over him.
Yes.
Complete power. It was always the opposite before.
I know.
Not anymore.
No.
And it shows that that Trump is dismantling the Zionists in Israel
Mm.
and bringing back the original Jew. And besides, these people with the Noahide law, this Chabad Lubavitch group, which is a very powerful sect within the Jewish faith, and they have the real power.
Yes.
They are fighting amongst themselves. They're splitting up completely themselves.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. So it's
very positive. It's very positive. So we can have the real Jews back, because I heard an interesting story. I don't know if it's true. I read it somewhere, that the Jews came here on earth, were brought here on earth, actually, and they had one more DNA strand than all the other people.
Oh.
And they were given secret knowledge. And they were supposed to lift up mankind. And when they are ready, that they should give them the knowledge. But then they got compromised, and the knowledge got stolen from them. And people used it for their own good.
Huh. Is that why that many feel, or is that why many Jews might be, we and they, like a bit of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I have very many beautiful beings that I know that are the Jewish faith and live beautifully with that. But yes, wow. I've always liked to be more eclectic. What feels right is what is from the heart is right. But I like that information. That's very good. And again, everybody who's listening to this, please use your own discernment. In other words, study. Go down. We are coming with information that we have amassed through teachings, through knowledge, through different ways. But it is very important that everybody does their own research on everything. Yeah.
What is interesting in this faith as well, which got a little bit changed, you have the circumcision.
Yes. Okay.
And this is actually a terrible, evil act. Because when you circumcise a little boy, when he grows up, he is missing the part of his body where the most feeling is, the absolute most feeling. Remember, when we people on earth, in matter, in flesh and blood, are making love, and the orgasm is the door to the cosmic consciousness.
Yes.
This is why we have this bliss feeling. It's an instant meditation. You're in contact with the godly world.
Yes.
This is what orgasm is meant to be. And this is why they pervert sex today. This is why we have the porn industry, because we shouldn't experience it in real love. And when they circumcise the little boys, the feeling is gone. The real love feeling is gone. It makes them cold. They get easily sociopaths and psychopaths, and it's good for business. It's good in business world.
Yeah, it's good for wow. I have never had any opinion about that. I've always wondered why, because it's supposed to be something that is for their good. At least that's what I thought. So I must that's news for me. That's news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just read it. I don't know if it's true, but I read it, but it makes sense to me. Why would you change something on a body when you are born perfect? You're God's creation.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't answer you that one, because I don't know. But I also know that I don't know if you can liken it to what they have been doing with females for millennia as well.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing, to get the feeling out of it.
Yeah. And that's in what that would be in the Arab worlds, right? Some of those, yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, that could be, that's something that I don't know anything about, so I can't really speak that much about it. I just have heard it, and the same thing with you,
Yeah. But I was, before I read it, I thought about this.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I read it. I got confirmed what I actually thought about it.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have this feeling, this intuition, This is why I can say things. It sounds like I know everything, but I don't. But I burn for the whole thing, It's very interesting. So I sound like I'm postulating stuff,
No, I mean, one of the things that I do like about listening to a lot of the things that you say is because I know that you've read a lot. At least that's what I read a lot, and there's a lot that comes through just intuition.
Yeah,
and intuition is very powerful.
It is, and I really realized it because I started to manifest things lately, and suddenly it happens. I did it 15 years ago.
Yes.
I was looking at an apartment, and I thought, I pointed at it. I said, I want to live there. This is beautiful.
Yes.
1 week later, I met a girl in the bar. I knew her for many years. And she told me that she's moving in with her new boyfriend, and she's living in this apartment. 2 weeks later, I took it over. I was there.
Oh, really?
And then I was teaching, and I got some money for my contract, and I didn't have a car, and I said, I want a Volvo. I want a used Volvo, a 240 GLE.
Yes.
And for a few days, I only saw Volvos everywhere in the streets.
Yeah.
Then I went out of my apartment, past the shop, and outside the shop, there was somebody standing and putting a sign in, 30,000 kroner, a Volvo white one, 240 GLE. I said, put that sign down, I'll buy it.
Yes.
And don't you want to test it? No. I went to the bank, I took out the money, and I bought it right away.
Talking about manifesting cars, I did that too. When I was 14 years old, I was walking in Copenhagen, and I remember seeing this mint green Porsche 911. I didn't know anything about cars, had never been interested in that. I saw this car, and I walked around it, and I looked in the inside, and I was like, oh my goodness, what is this? I was mesmerized. And since then, I said, I'm going to have one of those one of these days. One of these days, I'm going to have that. So when I came to the US, I remember my son says, well, you haven't manifested that. I said, no, I haven't yet. I was driving around in my SUV, and I was pretty okay with that because in this country, you have to have a big car. You really do. I mean, because most of the cars are really big. But my SUV started having a little bit of problems. It was an ML320, like a Mercedes, but it was a little older. It was starting to have troubles, and I had been traveling the whole country with this car, and I really like this car. And I was thinking, you know what? I have to fix the air conditioning, and here in Texas, you need air conditioning. People fry inside the car if you don't have it. I had to fix a lot of different things, and I was thinking, that's a lot of money to put in an old car. Maybe I should start looking for that car that I've always wanted. And I remember driving down the highway, and suddenly I saw not just one, I saw a whole convoy of these Porsches coming through, all different models, all different years, all different colors. And I was thinking in my heart, oh my goodness, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm going to feel it now. It's going to happen because I feel that I'm manifesting it with my mind. And I remember they were going one way, and I was going towards my work, and I wasn't feeling very good about my work that day. That day, something was not right. Something was just not right. I just feel, this weird feeling, that thinking feeling when you know something is not right. I get to work, and the boss, she and I didn't really get along that well. I'm not going to say anything about where it is, but anyway, I suddenly see the owner come in, go beeline straight towards me. And he says, Helene, we are sorry to say that we cannot use your expertise here anymore. And I looked at him, and I hugged him, and I said, thank you so much for everything that I have learned, because it was in a nutritional store, and I just sucked in all the stuff that I could during that time. So it was like he paid me to learn a whole bunch. And I had a whole bunch of people that really loved what I did, but that was my 5th time I got fired, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? I don't really feel bad about it because I knew I had to do something else, but I just felt okay. So I remember walking out and thinking, okay, to make this day something positive, what do I wish? Oh, let's go to this Porsche store. And I'm thinking, this is crazy. I just lost my job. Okay, there's not much money in the account, and buying a Porsche. But I walked to the place and I walked around and I said, do you have a car in red or racing yellow and with tan interior? Of course they didn't. It was black cars or silver or whatever. And I remember walking around, I said, well, and I want it in around that price range. They said, oh, you can't get that. I'm like, okay, that's okay. That's your opinion. I bought a key ring. That key ring, I put on my other key ring, and every day I would be looking at that key ring. And it took me about, I sold the car that I had, and then I had enough money for a down payment, and I had been looking online, and I only saw the car. It was red, had a tan interior. It was a 911. It was a pretty new one as well, and with my price range. So I was like, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I went in and I said to this guy, I wanted to buy for this much. And he says, no, that's way too little. And I said, okay, that's okay. I took a picture of the car. I had driven it around, and I was so happy. I had driven it around, and then I just parked it. And I told him, this is my last price. He wasn't going to go onto it. And I walked home. I didn't walk home. I drove home in my other car. But the interesting part was, he called me 2 weeks later. Don't you want the car? I said, yeah, but I told you what money I was going to give for it. He says, well, that's not possible, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. But I already knew that I put a white light around this car. This car was going to wait for me. This was already my car. It was just about a matter of time before it was going to be in my garage. And it took me about a month more. And then he went down a little bit. I had to go up a little bit, and we were fine, But
okay.
yeah. So manifesting with your thoughts, we are more powerful than anything.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this is what we should manifest. We should manifest the positive things which are coming to us now, but we should see them as well, not blindly manifesting that we want it, but we should really see what is happening, because it's so clear that the old times cannot come back, because it's there for everybody to see now. It's completely in the open. The madness, the evilness, everything is in the open for everybody to see. And now is the question, can you handle the truth? Can you really see it? Because when you see it, you know what you don't want anymore.
Yes.
And you know what you have been part of all your life.
It's like we've been inside a matrix, and many of us haven't seen that we are completely run by it.
Yeah.
Go to work. Okay. For what? 50 years of your life. Get up every morning, go to work, go home, eat, go to sleep, go back, work. I mean, is that the way we're supposed to be here? Is that the biggest reason why we're here?
Yeah. And the tax we are paying. And the tax we are paying, in the old days, you were not supposed to pay tax. No. But the feudalists and the one who ran a country and who had the army, they went to the people and stole and said, you have to pay. Yeah. And the farmers, all their produce, 10% of that has to go to the Kaiser or the king or whatever, Yes. We're stealing the people because he used it, he locked it away and used it to make deals with other countries or with passing by travelers or whatever, on the back of the people. Yes. And the people got some money to keep them quiet. And once in a while, twice a year, they got the money without tax, so that they get a little happy, they spend it on entertainment and keep themselves in slavery without knowing it. So what we have, the IRS system is completely illegal. They made it illegal through the Uniform Commercial Code, what we have today, and they tell us it's legal. It's not legal at all.
No. And many people have opened up there's something called the natural law.
Yeah.
Yes, and a lot of people have gone against the court systems and have told that you do not own me. I was one of those that became an American citizen later on, and I had to sign into the incorporated USA Incorporation, right? Which is,
Yeah.
I believe right now is null and void, or is becoming null and void.
Yeah.
And of course the fear comes up there too. What are we going to do now? Where's our money? We're going to quietly bankrupt the cabal. That's what we're going to do.
What is happening now is you can't come up with the whole truth. People will get a shock.
I know.
And they will be afraid. If the money system breaks down, the
Yes.
people will be in shock and afraid, and they would become violent even.
Yes.
The point is they're creating a new money system, which is going to be put in place without we even knowing it.
Yeah.
And when we, after a while, see that the IRS is dismantled, that the taxes are lowered, then we, after a while, feel it's much better now than it ever was before. Then the truth will be revealed, what happened and why and how they did it.
And that's what they're doing. That's one of the reasons why we are in this quarantine.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess on some level, the CV or COVID-19 actually has been a really blessing, because we have had a reason to be in quarantine, so that all this under the surface is being worked out right now.
Yeah. What the Trump administration is doing, using the deep state's tactics against them.
Yes.
And there you can see how stupid they are. There you can see how stupid they are.
Well, they have been how many hundreds of years have they been ruling? So they it's not just stupidity, it's the ego. It's the ego.
Yeah.
You know what? You can't make any wrong. These people are sheeple and they know nothing. So we're just going to continue. Right?
Yeah.
That's the way the way it has been. The status quo has been like that.
Yeah. And the biggest point is when people don't want to wake up, even if they see the truth, because then they feel themselves trapped and pointed the finger at that you were the stupid one. And then the ego kicks in. Oh no, I don't want to hear that.
I know.
Yeah.
I've been always called the weird one, or, the one who's way out there. But, today I take it as, yes, I am, but I actually know a little bit more than this blonde hair shows you, it's like, I'm okay.
Besides, they make the jokes about the blonde women, that they're stupid.
Yeah.
And so on these jokes, there is a deeper meaning behind that, because actually it's just the opposite.
Marilyn Monroe was very smart.
It is the ideal of woman. It's an old tradition from many hundred years ago, where these women were looked at as the real wise ones. They were wise, and very wise in this old, very hundreds of years old tradition. And they were a kind of counselor to the king or whatever, in what to do, politics and how to run the country and so on. Very wise women. And when the negative energy came in, the female energy has to be suppressed.
Yeah.
And what to do is making jokes about the blondes are dummies,
The blue-eyed blonde dumbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have many times probably surprised people that started speaking to me.
Yeah.
Because, yes. I just want to point out that today I have a little bindi, okay?
I see that, yeah.
And one of I usually have a heart in the middle of my forehead. I usually wear a heart. But I could not find one, so I just put a little bit of a light. And I feel that right now it is very important for each one of us to find our own light. That's one of the reasons why I put it there. It's not because I'm Hindu. It is just because I want people to pay attention to the information that you have within you and where you can start opening up your third eye. Now it's not there. It's a little bit higher. It's actually the indentation in your forehead. So it's about right there.
Yeah.
I call it the first eye. The first eye is because that's the first eye you open when you were in the womb. This is very important because, and one of the reasons why I'm just saying this is if you are still brushing your teeth with fluoride, please stop doing that. That calcifies your third eye and your ability to see. And as children, each one of you that were away, that came through and that were born have the ability to see. Okay. And that was one of the reasons why I put that in. My name, Helene, means light. So I just want to enlighten that.
Yeah,
That's my,
natural.
yeah.
By the way, you know, when they baptize the newborns in a church,
Yes.
you know what they're doing? It's devilish, actually.
Are they closing?
They pour water over the head, and every child has a very soft spot.
Right there,
Which
yeah.
in Fontanella, it's called in German, I think, a very soft spot. And when the priest, after he poured water over the head, he takes the sign of a cross. You know what he does? He's closing up that portal.
Oh my goodness.
He's closing down the portal so the child doesn't have the connection to the godly anymore.
I did not know that. Thank you very much for that information. I did not know that.
But it is, and you go into the confirmation to confirm that you agree with their laws, you know, unwritten laws, more or less.
The only reason why I had a confirmation was because I got a lot of presents. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I did the confirmation. I was a little older because I came from the U.S. and when I think you get around 14, but I still wanted that party, and I had a clairvoyant lady that came to my party. And that was really interesting because she came, she didn't live many years later, but she was able to be at my party. It's my grandfather that went to her during his whole life. So it was very, very powerful having her there. But yeah, no, I did not know that. So thank you for that. You know what? I love this. I'm getting to learn so much, and I'm getting to I really enjoy this. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy that myself. So there's a lot of things coming up, you know.
Yes.
I didn't think about this before, but it comes up when you talk. I get all these pictures in my head, you know.
Me too. So I think we're feeding each other.
Some pictures get lost, and I forgot what I wanted to say, you know. But it doesn't matter; it will come again.
Yes. Okay. So just to make everybody happy, I just want to say that we're going to continue doing this as long as Rainer and I are. You know, I think it sounds like this is so much fun, and it gives me so much joy to share this with everyone and to share Rainer with everyone. So this is a lot of fun.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so I wish everyone, if there's anything you like to say before, I'm just going to quit. I'm going to do my exit and tell everybody that I wish you the best today and all days. And I want you to know that there is good stuff coming on in your lives. Just open up to your own wisdom. You have it within you. Okay.
You were saying that you could see 360 around. What I could tell to the people, because many people are wondering, how can I see? When you were pointing to the third eye, how can I see? If you sit down in the evening, light a candle, sit about 2 meters or 3 meters away from the candle in a chair, lean back and be completely relaxed. And then you look towards the flame, not directly into the flame, but a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right, and be completely relaxed, almost sleepy in your eyes. You will see that the flame is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. That's what you see. You see the aura of the flame. Like that, you can train yourself up to see aura on things, on people, on animals, on everything.
Beautiful.
This is the frequency, the different kind of frequency we need to learn about.
Yes. Very nice. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rainer.
I thank you.
Thank you. Love you guys.